Hey, it's Dr. Hannah with this week's Hot Topic. Today I want to talk to you about a plant-based milk alternative that's become incredibly popular, and that is oat milk. Now, oat milk in particular is a really good choice for people with allergies or food intolerances to dairy. It's naturally free of lactose, nuts, soy, and gluten, especially if it's made from certified gluten-free oats. Now, it also has a lot of other health benefits, which I'll talk to you about shortly. But in general, what is oat milk? Oat milk just sounds kind of what it is. It's oat that has been soaked, so steel cut oats or rolled oats, and that's been soaked with water, and then you strain them through a cheesecloth to separate the milk from the oats. And that's pretty much it. That's what it's like when you make them from home. Now, oat milk is unique that it's free of allergies found in other types of milk. So it also contains some beta-glucans, which is a soluble fiber that is good for your heart. Now, because oat milk is made just from strained oats, you're actually missing a lot of the nutrients that you would normally get from just eating a bowl of oats. So that's the bad part about if you make it from home. So if you buy it commercially, they often enrich it with other nutrients. Again, I'll talk to you about that shortly. Now, it does, when you buy it commercially, they do fortify it with the vitamins A and D, B2, which is riboflavin, or B12, and they also have various minerals such as calcium. Now, when compared to other types of milk, oat milk generally has more calories, more carbs, and fiber than you necessarily would compare them to like almond or soy or cow's milk, and they can also provide less protein than soy and dairy varieties. Now let's talk about we're going to talk about 4 health benefits you get if you ingest or you take oat milk. So the first one, like I mentioned before, it's vegan and it's lactose, soy, and nut-free. So it's a really good option for those with dietary restrictions, especially if you're trying to avoid certain nuts or dairy. And because it's just made from oats and water, it doesn't have any of that extra stuff, like I said, the lactose or the soy. Even though nuts are naturally gluten-free, they can actually be processed in the same factory, that have gluten in them from the oats. So you just have to make sure that you're actually checking the label to see which product are actually gluten-free. So if it doesn't say gluten-free on the box or on the bottle, it's not gluten-free. So if you're worried about that, you can just make them at home and then just make sure you make them with certified gluten-free oats. The second health benefit it has is a great source of B vitamins. Now, oat milk is often fortified with B vitamins, such as the riboflavin, which is B2, and vitamin B12. Now, B vitamins are essential for optimal health and linked to numerous health benefits. Like, for example, they help benefit and elevate your mood. They can help combat oxidative stress, promote healthy hair and nails and skin, and that's pretty much what B vitamins are for. Plus, it's really good for your memory. So if you're already deficient in these vitamins, this is another good source that you can get them from. The third thing is it can actually help lower your blood cholesterol. Now, oat milk, as I had mentioned before, is high in beta-glucans, which is that soluble fiber which is good for your heart. Now, it's a form of a gel-like substance which is inside your gut, which can help then bind to the cholesterol, and that reduces its absorption. So this helps lower that cholesterol, like your bad cholesterol, which is your LDL cholesterol, because you're supposed to have that good ratio. And that, again, if you have too much LDL, that can be linked to heart disease. And then the fourth and final one is it's really good for bone health. So oat milk is often fortified with that extra calcium and vitamin D, which is good for your bones. So calcium is essential for those strong and healthy bones because it's the main mineral that's used to form your bones. And a lack of calcium in your diet can cause your bones to be hollow and more brittle, and they can fracture more, so think of osteoporosis. Also, vitamin D is just as important because it also aids in the absorption of calcium from your digestive tract. So if you don't have the calcium, you can't absorb it. If you don't have the vitamin D, you're just not in a good place. So the lack of vitamin D can stop your body from getting sufficient calcium, which again can cause those bones to weaken. They can crack. It can decrease your, it can just increase your risk of fractures if you don't have enough vitamin D. Now, with oat milk, there are some potential downsides, but there's really not a whole lot. So with oat milk, they do have, they have the commercial oat milk, but again, it's kind of high in sugar. So like I mentioned before, so either you get the commercial where it's infused with more of the nutrients, but if it's commercial, it could be high in sugar, especially if it's a sweetened or a flavored one. So you just have to kind of pay attention to that. So if you're going to do that, just make sure you buy the unsweetened options, and then you can limit your sugar from that. It's also not certified gluten-free. So like I mentioned before, as long as you get it specifically from certified gluten-free oats or the steel-cut oats, that's when you know it's gluten-free. But it's best just to purchase it labeled. And if it's not, then that way you can kind of guarantee it. Now, homemade is the other option, but you're not going to get as much nutrients in it if you just do that. So that's kind of the trade-off there. Oat milk is generally safe for babies and children, but it's not a suitable replacement for breast milk or cow's milk. So for all those moms out there that you're worried about your baby's lactose intolerant or you're not drinking it, you can't replace oat milk with breast milk. So that's another thing to kind of keep in your mind. And then the last thing, if you're on a budget, oat milk is a little bit more expensive than just regular dairy milk. So if you want to try and save some money, the best thing to do is just make it at home, and then that way you know what's in it. You are saving a little bit more money, and that's one of the other downsides that you have, is it's slightly a little bit more expensive. So that's all I have for you guys this week. I will see you guys next time.